It's the shade of it all. It's the shade of it all. It's the shade of it all. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the
Hello,
first
hello.
episode of The Shade of It All.
I'm Magdala,
And I'm Brandon. And this is our
and
first
we're
podcast episode. Oh, and we're
we're struggling with intros right now.
intros are the worst part of like anything though.
You
Like
just
I can't
gotta.
even like on my YouTube, I can't like I still suck at intros. On my other podcasts, I just don't know. It's
No,
just
it's difficult.
intros and outros are the worst.
They are.
But hello world. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast, The Shade of It All.
The shade of it all.
I'm so excited. We've been talking about doing this for so long.
We really have, and it's like finally waving it out is honestly a little intimidating, but who cares? We'll just do it anyway.
We're ripping the band-aid off because it kept postponing, kept going through trials and tribulations, but
Yeah.
we're here and we're
Now we're
ready.
here.
And y'all are gonna love us.
I
Hopefully.
agree. And if
Watch
you
me.
don't, we don't care. It's fine anyway.
It's fine. I'm used to not being loved.
It's okay. I don't care if anybody listens. I'm just gonna have fun talking to you, Brandon.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Same.
You're welcome. We don't give each other compliments often, so we need to mark this moment in time.
We don't, but you know what? It's all good. Okay, so this first episode, it's gonna be kind of like, a quick little episode, just like an intro one, just kind of describing like what the podcast is gonna be about, introducing ourselves, talking about how we met, stuff like that. Just like serve as an introduction and what you can expect from the rest of the podcast.
Exactly. And like for this podcast, what it is about is kind of like talking about pop culture. So that could include like things going on in the media. It could include TV shows or movies that we're watching. And then so we're talking about like the shady side of pop culture, and then also like the shady, like kind of darker sides of our lives, where our mental health is at, how we're growing. Not like dark, super negative, but like
She's
this
like,
is not
you're gonna cry.
no, I don't think that we're not going that deep.
No, no.
I guess, yeah, I mean,
Well,
then
you
it
never
does.
know. You never know. Maybe.
Mhm.
Stay
Because it's
tuned.
the well, it's not dark, it's the shadier,
Yes.
partly cloudy parts of our lives. There we go.
Yes. Because, everyone's a little shady, and I think we all need to be embracing more of the shade of it all.
I agree.
Shade to ourselves, shade to others, shade to the world.
Mhm. All
Let's
of it.
let's get shady.
Let's get shady.
But let's talk about, well, we could talk about the inception of the podcast because at first it was going to be like a TikTok series we were going to do. And like where it was gonna be kind of like skits and stuff, because I think at the time there was a lot of skits going on TikTok, and I think there still is, but not
Hmm.
as much. But we were like, we can do a skit. That would be fun.
Yeah. But we're not. Well,
Mhm.
it was just hard to execute because you need like a set, you need a consistent place to record, you need props, you need outfits and characters and lines. And honestly, the idea always sounded great, but it's difficult to execute. So shout out to all those people who are doing skits and stuff like on TikTok. Very impressive. Could not be us. But I think the podcast realm, we thrive better here. And this kind of happened because like usually when we get together, we're always talking about like, oh, the Real Housewives. Well, it really started because we were watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta together.
Oh yes.
Brandon is a Bravo fan. Are you a Bravo fan? Brandon is a Bravo fan, and he watches like every show. And so he was telling me about it, and I was like, we'll see. And then I got hooked. I watched like every season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Then he put me on to Potomac. So we were always just talking about like, what are these women doing? What's going on? And I kind of like, okay, well, maybe we could do a podcast.
Yes, because we will definitely be talking about reality TV throughout it. That would be
Mm.
consistent because it's something that brings us together.
It is. It
Yes.
is messy
And
TV.
there's nothing more shady than reality TV.
It's true.
But yeah, so that's kind of how the podcast started, but we can talk about how we met because we've been besties for quite some time.
We've been friends for a long time,
Notice how
Brandon.
she dropped the best. She just said friends.
I did.
She's like, yes, we've known each other for so long.
You know what's so funny? Well, first, I don't have a lot of best friends that are guys. Actually, I think you're the only guy best friend I have, one. But two, it's so we don't really get super deep. So I actually think that this podcast will be cool because we'll get to know each other more. Because we kind of like, just talk about whatever.
We get
Um,
deep-ish.
we get deep-ish,
Yes.
deep adjacent.
Deep adjacent. It's like it's not kiddie pool, but it's not like it's not a therapy session. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like I don't think Brandon's ever seen me cry.
I feel like maybe, but maybe
Really?
once a
Really?
while ago. I don't know. Yeah, because you cried that one year at your birthday giving a speech.
Oh.
You cried at a group of people, a table full. Maggie's so full of it. She's talking about we've never seen each other cry. She cried to a group like of people at a table, and I know she doesn't talk to half those people anymore.
Not me crying on a public forum. That's so funny. Okay,
I'm
well
just so thankful y'all came.
when we that's such my personality right there. When we get together, I guess I've never cried when like we're like in our conversations one
Not
on
like
one.
one on one.
Yeah.
I
But
can't handle crying.
huh?
I can't handle crying. I
Do
like
you
feel
cry, Brandon?
by myself. Like I can't.
How
I
I just see Brandon in his room. I just want
when
tears.
people cry in front of me, I don't know what to do. Like someone recently like
Oh.
cried like on a call or something, and I was just like, "Oh, I didn't know what to do."
No, I'm trying to think. What do I do when people cry?
You're
I
very
just let them
empathetic.
cry. It doesn't make me uncomfortable though.
Yeah, you know.
You're like screaming like, frick, what am I supposed to do right now?
I'm like, I don't know what to do. Why are they giving me this?
No, I just let them cry. I might find a tissue or two, pass it over.
Maybe throw them a pack of
There,
Kleenex.
there.
There.
No, I cry like once a week, maybe, or on at least on a biweekly basis.
Sometimes I make myself cry. You know when you just think of sad things or put yourself in sad situations on purpose.
Brandon, TikTok makes me cry regularly. There's no chill. You go from like, okay, this was so funny, then you watch people dance, then someone tells a sad story and you cry. Like that's just the waves of my For You page.
That is true. And then someone's dropping a single. And
Someone's dropping a single, someone's doing a podcast.
someone's in your pot. So you'll see us popping up on your own feed.
Keep an eye out for us on your For You pages.
Yes, please. We'll be posting clips.
But yes, okay, so we've been friends for a while, a long time, best friends for a long time. I met Brandon, so it's probably been a little over 10 years.
It's
No,
been like
like 12 years.
it'll be
Going on
12
to
years this summer. That's
12
how
years this
crazy it
summer.
is.
I met Brandon in the summer.
In the
Uh,
summer when I met you in the summer.
so it was my freshman year of college, and I was taking two summer classes. At USF, and I one class was like a film intro to film studies class, and the second class was like a history of life class, basically like evolution class. Like it was actually really lame and boring. But the classroom was really big, and I remember I would sit in the back and just like a couple people kind of congregated in the back. And so Brandon sat next to me. To my left, and then there were like two girls to my right, and then two guys in front of us. And so kind of like on the first day we all just sat in that order, and we just continued to sit in that order. And so me and the people to my right would talk, joke around. The guy was funny. I remember him telling his stories. Like we were all just like really chill with each other. We would talk all the time. And Brandon next to me wouldn't necessarily add to the conversation, but sometimes like you can hear somebody like someone can hear what you're saying and they're listening to what you're saying, but they're not necessarily adding. So that's how it was. So I always knew Brandon. I knew the person next to me was like a cool person because he'd laugh at my jokes and like whatever. Um, but
I
he
thought I
never
was funny.
spoke. And I felt like it took a long time, but it probably didn't take very long for us to start talking.
I think like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't long because the class was like 3 days a week, right?
It
I think it was.
was, and it was like for 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, so we were there pretty often. So one day I came in and I noticed that Brandon was playing this game on his phone. Can't remember what it's called, but it's one of those like games where you have to like I think you have a minute to like come up with as many words as possible with like a group of letters.
I think it was
And so his
Scramble or something like that.
scramble with friends.
I think there was Words with Friends and there was Scramble.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that's what it was.
specifically that time I was playing Scramble, but I probably also was playing Words with Friends.
Okay. So I noticed that he was playing and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I play that game." And I actually think we started playing it together.
I think we did.
And then we started talking more cuz I don't know who brought it up, but one of us was like, "Oh, you're also in my film studies class." And so that's kind of just how we hit it off. And after that, we were like studying together for both classes. We had exams for both classes. I remember like studying with him. And then it was just kind of like we hit it off from there.
Yes. And I was nervous going into college, okay? And I'm very quiet and subdued when you first meet me. Many may not know that about me, but I can be shy. And so I was just nervous being in that atmosphere. And starting in the summer college, it was like right out of high school. So there really wasn't much of like a summer break before college. So it was just very overwhelming. But, and like the classes, it was like that stupid science class that was like 3 days a week. And I'm like, I hate science. And then the film studies was kind of interesting, but it was like twice a week from like 5 to 8:30. And I'm like, this
Mhm.
sucks. This is so late. Like,
It was rough. And you just had to go in and watch an entire movie. That could be any
yes.
like probably about 3 hours of
We're gonna
that.
watch Citizen Kane and Singing in
Oh
the
my
Rain.
gosh. Y'all, this intro to film studies class was kind of crazy because it wasn't like we were watching like common Emmy award winning movies. No, we were watching like random movies. One film was a silent film. That was Do you remember that?
Yes, but I
It
forget
was
what it
like
was
made in Europe or
called.
something.
Yes, and it was
I
like
don't remember.
weird. There was like a something like I remember there was like a clip of this guy and like this ugly lady walking down the beach or something.
And then they had like a carnival. Oh no,
Yeah,
that movie was weird.
that was a weird movie.
I just remember a scene of like different characters like spinning in a circle, and I was just like, "Yo, this is crazy." We watched Alien, I think.
Yeah, we had to watch that one on our own. She didn't,
Yeah.
for some reason, she didn't play it in the class, but I remember I had to watch it like in my room and do like an assignment. And I'm like,
So there's it, and that class also sucked because homegirl would like be like, "So what do you guys think the movie is about? Whatever." And then she would write her own like thesis statement, and for the exam we had to memorize her thesis statement. It was like intro to film studies through the professor's eyes because we just had to like take her take on it and like memorize her take. I remember on the exam having to like write down what she said the thesis was. Her TA was oh, we had breakout sessions for that, Brandon. Do you remember
we,
that?
yes, I had the TA. We would have the breakout sessions at the end of the class, like at
Yeah.
8 p.m. when I'm like over it, and we had to walk across campus to some other room. And I'm like, why are we doing this?
That class was
We could have just
wild.
divided in the film studies class because it was so big anyways. The like chairs, there were so many open. Like it made no sense. It was so stupid.
I do remember from one of our first encounters, you were talking about how I always brought food to class and I was like this is the only way I'm going to be able to stay awake because I was living on campus at the time. So I'd fill this to go box with food
She
and
was
then
bring
just
a
bring it.
feast.
I was just going in
I was like,
and
what's
I
she
would bring it and watch
eating?
the movie. And I remember Brenton being like, "Oh yeah." I was so hungry and I saw you with your box. That's kind of funny that we low-key sat next to each other in that class too and probably didn't notice until like later.
Probably, yeah, because I think I noticed you once and then I wasn't sure. I don't know, because it was a big class and like it
It
was
was
just like
big.
late, so it was just like weird.
Yeah.
But we didn't even pick those classes. They like assigned it to us because we had the
Yeah.
same major, because we were
Yeah.
both accounting majors. But then Maggie
Yes.
left me.
I
She
left. I left.
abandoned me.
I still stand by my
She was
choices.
like, actually, I'm gonna switch to finance. And then actually, I'm gonna switch to management.
I changed my
Actually,
major
I'm
like
gonna
five
switch to
times.
this.
Bro, I was always in an existential crisis. Like, what do I do with my life? College is stressful. It's it's
Honestly, I
it's
wish I
really
did that.
messed up if you think about it. Oh, sorry, what'd you say?
No, I was just saying I wish I did that because I won't kind of, I don't know. We can get
Yeah.
more into that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But I do think it's messed up that like high school is set up in a way where you have a routine, you go to class, you don't really think for yourself a whole lot. Your life is like planned out essentially. Like you're going from point A to point B. Here are the assignments, do them, here's how to do them, get them done. And then as soon as you're 18, people want you to think for yourself and pick and like consider, oh, okay, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Like that's stressful. Like
It's very, meanwhile, you're getting into debt. I'm still paying student loans. But you know why I'm paying
man.
student loans? Because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get my master's because it's just one extra year. Like, who cares? And I didn't, I did not need to get my master's, especially where I'm at now with my job. I didn't need it. So it was just a waste of time, a waste of money. I'm gonna be broke, but it's fine. Okay.
We'll be okay. We'll be okay, Brandon.
We'll be
Well, that's how we met.
fine. That is
So we
how we
started
met.
studying together. We took a couple of classes later on,
Hmm.
but we've always like I don't have a lot of friends from college that I still like speak to regularly, but we've been able to keep this up pretty good. So I
We
love it.
have. I do too. We've been very consistent. And even if we don't, like, there were periods where maybe we didn't talk as much, we always like reunited
Yeah.
and stuff. Because there
Yeah.
was one point where we were actually like living very close to each other and like didn't realize it. But then we like hung out more when we found
Yeah,
out.
that's true. Yeah, you were like down the street and I didn't know. And then I think we only hung out like a few more times after that. But yeah, like the odds of us like being near each other and not even knowing, we were definitely not talking. Now we keep up pretty regularly. I think I text you at least a couple times a week.
We do. We keep
When I
up.
watch Traitors and I'm like, Brandon, did you see that? I didn't watch the one yesterday, so don't ruin it.
I won't. It wasn't that good.
Oh, boo. I had a feeling it was going to be boring and I wasn't that excited.
Yes, we're like, that's another thing. We're definitely gonna dive into traders as a part of like this podcast because we love the show. But
Yes.
what was the one you saw before? Dan Giesling is gone, which that was
Yes.
exciting.
He got banished. He tried to come for Phaedra and she was like, you're playing the wrong game,
She was
sir.
like, I do too much
Like,
because you do too little.
she was going in. And he was
She
like, "What about your
was
breakfast reactions?" She's like, "My breakfast reactions, my face."
not my burgerlicious.
Because I actually I was listening to a podcast and somebody was like, "I think she genuinely likes Bergie and didn't want him going
I think
home."
she does. I think I saw something on Twitter where she like still comments under his pictures. Like, oh, my
Aww,
burgerlicious. So it's
that's
like
so
sweet. I don't
cute.
think she likes Dan.
No, and I don't like Dan either. Honestly, he was being weird. He was being so weird.
He like sabotaged her game
He
because I don't
did.
think too many people were thinking her, if any. And then they were like, well, if he's gonna say it, it's because he knows she's a traitor. And
Yeah,
he's
I
being a
think he
sore
was intentionally
loser.
trying to sabotage her, which is so messed up because it's like, yo, let her eat, let her cook. Nobody told you to be a weirdo and not talk to anybody and act like a traitor. Even
Right?
anytime they asked him, like, Dan, who are you thinking of? Says nothing. Oh, I don't want to say it in a like we're literally all talking, Dan.
I want to be sure that when I say something, it means something.
Yeah,
So, yeah. It's like,
no.
okay, Dan. Anyways, did you ever watch his Big Brother seasons? Because I
I
know you
watched
went back and like watched a lot.
yes. We will probably talk about Big Brother at one point because I actually I have a ambivalent relationship with Big Brother right now. I'll mention why later, but yes, I did watch Dan's season. The first one. I didn't watch the second one. I watched when he played with
Yeah.
Memphis and the old man.
Oh
I don't know his name.
I don't either, but I've never watched that season, but I've seen clips because of like Keisha's birthday
Yeah.
and Libra.
Brendan, you actually should watch that season because it's so chaotic for no reason. Like these house guests are like arguing first, like I can't remember his name, that super buff guy. I want to say his name is like
Jesse.
Jesse. Yes. Jesse is like arguing with the older lady. Um, yo, I can't even remember her name.
I know who you're talking
She
about.
has red hair. Anyway, a young kid is like, arguing with someone his mom's age. Then people are like bringing religion into it. The old man was saying that Dan was a Judas, bringing all types of religion into it, right? Then the next week, Dan is like head of house. And the old man is like, I'm sorry, Dan. I took it too personal. I was like, yeah, you're going to apologize now. But that was like a really good season. I don't think anybody played as good of a game of Big Brother up until that point. So he is a great Big Brother player.
He just couldn't
Um,
adjust to the trader style and like the time difference.
I mean, the thing that confused me the most about Dan on Traders is like, has no one else seen him play a game before? Like, he is a talkative person. He's pretty strategic. Like him playing this quiet character made no sense to me. I would have thought he was a trader from jump if I was there. Like Dan doesn't act like this, you
That's
know?
why Janelle like called him out and like pointed out everything at the round table. He had said in some interview that that's what like really shook him was
Yeah.
Janelle coming after him. And I was
Yeah.
just like, well, it was about time someone said something because it's very obvious.
Right. Like you're being weird. Poverty, I actually think that Poverty played a decent game. I don't know really what made people suspicious of her.
I mean,
Um
she's always just staring, like always just like,
I mean, like, look, with traders, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's like, oh, you talk too much, you're a traitor. Turns out
that
they're
is
faithful.
true.
Oh, you don't talk enough, you're a traitor.
You cheersed us at breakfast. You're a traitor.
Right,
You poisoned
right.
Ekin.
Yeah, like, oh, you were comforting Larsa. And it's like, yeah, her freaking boyfriend just got voted out. Of course I'd comfort her. They're crazy. Like poor Peppermint, man.
I know.
Justice for Peppermint.
Justice for Peppermint. She deserves so much better.
She really did. Like and I'm like, I was like, Peppermint is me. If I'm on like in the corner, backed up into a corner, of course I'm gonna say something wrong. Like when
Yeah.
she was like, I am a traitor. I mean, if I was a traitor, like, oh girl, everybody was after you after that. I was like, this sucks.
Well,
And they're like, guys, she literally said she was a traitor, then she was a faithful. I'm like, see, you can't just go off of what people are saying because anyone can say anything and still be a faithful.
exactly. And stupid Trishelle. I hate Trishelle. And she's extra annoying this past episode. I won't ruin it, but she really was just like
Oh, is that why you
stupid.
hate her? Or did she do something earlier on?
I've just always found her because I used to watch, like, I watched The Challenge and she's been on a couple times. And I always just found her to be like stupid. And I know she tries to say she's smart. And I get in some ways maybe she is, but she doesn't communicate in a smart way. So I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to see it.
I don't know her very well. I don't remember her from the challenge either. She might look different now.
Did you ever watch The Challenge?
Yeah, I do watch it, but I don't remember her from it. I remember CTE.
Did you
Um,
have you do you know Anissa?
yeah.
There was a Rivals, the last challenge Trishelle was on, it was Rivals 2, and she got
Hmm.
into a fight with Anissa.
Like a
'Cause
physical one.
well, she would try to charge at Anissa, and Anissa just stiff armed her.
Damn.
She was like drunk, and they were arguing about like something like stupid, like Trishelle was just being dumb, and then Anissa can be annoying, but like she wasn't trying to bother. Like I don't know, it's just so dumb.
Listen, the challenge has a lot of characters, but
Are you watching this new season?
I'm not. Well, wait, is it on Paramount? I will.
It's not on Paramount yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't.
It's just been airing on like MTV.
Yeah, I don't have cable anymore, so it'd be hard
We gotta
unless I
get
can
you some
find.
cable, Maggie.
I need to. Nobody has cable anymore, Brandon.
I know, I use my parents. uh,
But I watched the Challenge USA. That's the last one I saw, and she wasn't on any of those. But yeah, the
mm,
person, okay, my least favorite, but I think the person who is like the funniest on Traders right now is Kevin, because Kevin doesn't know what the hell is going on.
I
Kevin
hate
is just
Kevin.
saying whatever. Like, Kevin, you are probably gonna either get voted. I mean, actually, there's no point in voting you out because you add
The
nothing. Like,
stupid
there's
people
no
last the longest because they keep them because it's like, wow, they know nothing. And then
yeah,
it's
like
just like they're never gonna banish a traitor. So it's just kind of like, yeah, you keep the stupid people around.
exactly. Like,
Like
Kevin be
Sheree.
loud. Yes. Oh my
Sheree, what is
gosh.
she even doing?
Oh, I love her, but it's true. Sheree and Kevin are gonna be kept to the end because there's no point in murdering them. They're not doing anything.
And
They're not
like,
hurting anybody. I actually watched Dan's exit interview, and he was saying that pretty much most of the people left in the game are Phaedra's allies. So that's part of the reason why he wanted to throw her under the bus, or he like noticed that he can't get to the end with her because a lot of his allies left early on. And
mm-hmm,
that's true. Like, had he not said anything, she probably would have been in the clear to the end, just like Suri.
probably. And it's like he wasn't gonna make it to the end with anyone because everyone thought he was a traitor. So
Mm-hmm.
like he actually maybe could have maybe worked with Vader at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just a lot.
And honestly, I just want my black queens to win. And so when he was like, I can't make it to the end with Phaedra, I was like, damn, Dan, y'all just started. Like, it's day two. Like, gosh. And then she let you recruit poverty. That's who you wanted, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I know.
Anyways, the traders, it's been interesting to watch.
I'm just happy Phaedra lasts a long time at this point.
Me too. Me too. She's doing a great job.
She might be coming back to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, now that Candy's out.
Yeah. She says
Ooh,
there's been discussions.
honestly, I wouldn't be mad. I want to see how big her kids are now.
They're on well, she's on Married to Medicine, but I don't know if you watch that.
I don't, and it just confuses me why she's on there.
It is
Are you
confusing.
married to medicine,
She
Phaedra?
was once dating a doctor, I think was the tie-in. And then,
But
but I
it's
don't,
called married to medicine, not dating to medicine.
she needs to be with CT. That I ship.
Honestly, I ship it. That'd be cute.
It would be.
That would be kind of cute.
Uh, but anyways,
Anyways, what are we
that's
talking about?
I don't know. We went off a little bit, but that that's gonna be this podcast, the shade of it all. It'll
This shit.
always go back to reality TV or pop culture of some sort, and we're gonna be shady, and that's okay.
Mhm. So the year kind of started recently.
A
we're
little
th- we're
bit.
we're within 6 weeks of the start of the year, so it's fine. It's okay. We're okay. We're
It's
fine.
still the beginning.
It's still the beginning. So I wanted to talk about goal setting. Um, I kind of hate New Year resolutions because I feel like it's only at the beginning of the year where people are like, I want to change. And it's like you could change at any point, you know?
Hmm.
But I do think it's good to like talk about goals. So like what we're hoping for ourselves. And maybe and this truly is just like something we want to be better about personally, whether that's
Hmm.
mental health, work, what have you.
Yeah. So what are your goals?
So this year, and I'm already frustrated about and maybe I'll explain that too. But
I'm
this year,
already failing.
I'm already failing, so I'm kind of irritated.
Oh,
First 6 weeks of the year did not go as planned, and maybe that's the problem. Is I'm setting too high expectations for myself.
it's a 6-week trial run.
It's a 6 week trial. But this year I wanted to work on like just taking care of myself more. So I'll explain. So in 2022 I did 75 hard. And if you don't know what 75 hard is, it's just essentially like a 75-day program where you have to do a bunch of stuff related to like mostly physical wellness, but the program is like a self-discipline program. And so it's pretty much like, are you someone who makes excuses and are you tired of not meeting your goals? Do 75 hard, learn how to be consistent, and you'll be able to be disciplined with the rest of your life, you
Hmm.
know. So they had me doing so for 75 days straight, and I did 75 hard. I didn't do 75 soft, like I did the whole thing for 75 days. Every day I worked out twice. Once indoors and once outdoors for 45 minutes. You can't do those workouts consecutively, so I had to work out, wait 3 hours, and then work out again. I read 10 pages of a self-help or like history related book. I drank a gallon of water. I did not eat any junk food or like deviate. I stuck to a diet, and I did not drink any alcohol. And I'm pretty sure that's the whole list. I might be
Hmm.
forgetting something, but that's the gist of it. So I did 75 hard. I lost about 30 pounds, which was like great. I felt good. But boy, yo, 75 hard like took a part of me that I will never get back.
Maggie was going
First
through
20
it.
days were great. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said Maggie was going through it.
I was going through it. I was struggling. The first 20 days were great. The rest of the time was not great. I was sleep deprived. Like, so pretty much I was burnt out. Like, doing that list of things every single day just depleted me because I'm already a person that doesn't feel like I have a whole lot of time to myself. And so those two workouts became like my whole day. And then, like, of course, I was procrastinating. So sometimes I'm not doing my last thing until like midnight. I remember it be like 11:30 and I'm reading the 10 pages of the book. It was so bad. I was playing with fire, but I finished it every single day. I did it. But by the end, I was just burnt out, sleep deprived, just emotionally. Yo, I remember during this time period, I don't think I ever told you this, Brandon. During this time period, I got frustrated with somebody at work and started crying, like sobbing during like a call with this person.
Oh Lord.
I was just like so irritated, like, let me call her and like figure out what she's asking me to do. And then she told me what to do, and it was actually so simple. And I was like, I was over here getting mad for no reason. And I just started crying. I cried for like 15 minutes. She started crying. So,
It's just so hard.
she was like, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Did I do something? And then she starts crying. We end the call and I cried for like half an hour more. Like, I'm just like mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. Like, it took so much out of me. And then after 75 hard, I started doing like nutrition training with a or nutrition coaching with a trainer, and that was hard too. And so like essentially spent like 6 months doing very strict, rigorous like physical activity, and I was just done. So like that was the end of 2022 into 2023. I was just whatever, like gassed out. And then at the beginning or in the mid, like once I just stopped completely. I was like, I'm
Hmm.
sleeping, I'm laying in my bed today, I'm not working out, I didn't go to the gym for a minute. I was over all of it. And so now I'm on this thing where I'm essentially trying like, where's the middle? Because you can be extreme and do extreme stuff every day, and then like you can do nothing. So like what does the middle look like? Like, can I find this middle? And like, how can I take care of my mental health and be physically well, and like, be emotionally well? So this year my goal wants to be to learn like how to truly care for myself, care for my body, eat right, care for my mind, whatever that looks like, and then
Hmm.
just like be well. So that's a long tangent on what my goals are. What are your goals, Brandon?
It's okay. That's one thing about Maggie. If there's a tangent, she'll go on it. But no, I appreciate that. And yes, I remember seeing you do the 75 hard. You were very committed. She had a birthday and it was we had to go to like a stand-up comedy show and she was reading during the comedy show. We were like front row. The guy pointed out at one point, she's reading.
No,
So that
I
was
was
funny.
so annoyed because he made a joke about Black women.
Oh,
And that's when I took out the book. And that's when he was like, "Oh, are you reading right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not listening to you." Anyway,
yes.
I was, yes,
They weren't
did
that
75.
funny. So I didn't blame
He
you.
wasn't.
Um, but so yeah, but for my goals, I'd have to say roughly the same as far as I'm trying not to have too many resolutions. I had some last year that I did kind of go like through with. Like one was reading more, and I did read a lot more. And I have a book club podcast at the Literary Latte Podcast if you want to listen to that. That's with a friend of the
Yes.
pod, Katie. That one's fun. We're recording a new episode tomorrow. But so that I read a lot of books. So I did that. I wanted to travel more. I did travel more. I went to Nashville for my cousin's bachelorette, Miami for my best friend's bachelorette. I went to California for Thanksgiving, but I want to travel more. I want to go to Europe this year. That's my big goal. I want to go to Europe. I want to look into Costco travel because I see everyone going to Europe. Everyone, oh, it's the summer, and everyone's like, oh, I'm in Italy. And it's like, when, what? Who got the memo? Not me. And I
Literally.
do have my passport though, so I just need to plan it and like do it. And work is pretty flexible on the summers because we get like summer Fridays. So
Hmm.
it's like additional days. So it's the perfect time to like take advantage of that. But overall, the overarching thing is to try to just go into this year with a new mindset where I'm just not overthinking things, which I'm
Mm.
failing at that, but it's fine. We're trying. I'm trying not to overthink too much and just kind of go with it and like just like do stuff. Like even with this podcast, try not to overthink it and just do it because we've been wanting to do it. And now
Yeah.
we're like gonna do it. With
Yeah.
other stuff in my life, I do want to move out this year. And like, but I don't even know if I want to stay in Florida. TBD, we'll see.
Wow.
Maggie's like, oh my God.
You didn't tell me. I'm learning this right now. Oh my gosh, Brandon, please don't leave, but also like I'll visit you.
But you're like, I'll go too.
Where are we moving,
Where are
Brandon?
we going? I don't know. TBD. We'll see. Cause that's just something, cause I'm like, rent's just so expensive. And like, I don't know if I want to like live anywhere here. So I'm like, cause I had moved out at one point and then I moved back because my roommate situation fell off after like a year and it was time to get a new place. And then
Yeah.
COVID happened, and then it was just like there was no moving. And then it was just like, well, it kind of works out and there's no rent. And like my
Yeah.
parents are cool. So it's like it all worked out. But this year I want to do that. And I just want to like again, just like stop overthinking things and just like do what I want to do. And also get on my fitness grind. Cause like I'm
Yes.
trying. I'm trying at least to run more, which I did do a lot of last year, but I want to get more into like being consistent with like weightlifting and like trying to
Mm.
build muscle. Not trying to be like shredded, but like at least a little
Little
tone.
toned.
A little tone, a little
Little
cute.
tones.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
those are
love
my
it.
goals, I would say.
I love it, Brandon. So in terms of moving, like I was gonna ask you, have you considered staying or you're just on the fence about where you want to go in general? Like staying in Florida, I mean, like living in Florida somewhere else.
I think I don't know. I've considered it, but that's also why I kind of wanted to travel more to see if there's
Mm.
places I would like.
Mm-hmm.
And like see if I could move somewhere because I feel
Yeah.
like also everywhere is expensive. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I just feel like I've lived in Tampa like my whole life and I'm ready for something different,
Yeah.
you
No, I
know?
feel you.
So we'll
Well,
see
first, no shade, because if I could live with my parents, I would, and save money, I would. Shoot,
that
you
part.
know, you're young, so you can save up and whatever. But I also get it. Like the housing in Tampa is, well, yeah, Tampa, really any part of Florida is crazy right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, go somewhere else.
She's
See if
like,
there's a
I
better.
support this leave.
Go away, fly away,
And we can still
and
do the
let us know where
podcast
the
over
rent is
Zoom.
better.
So it all works out.
What'd you say?
We can still do this podcast over Zoom. So it all works out.
It does. It
Yes.
does.
But I think that's pretty much it for our first episode.
Mhm.
Introducing you all to the shade of it all.
And to who we are, and
Yes.
we'll continue to be talking about our lives and what's going on in the world.
Yes, we're gonna be dropping episodes weekly. We're gonna shoot for Mondays. The first week might be a different day, but ideally it will be every Monday.
Hmm.
So you can start your week off right and shady.
Yes.
But with that being said, thank y'all so much for listening.
And we'll be back next time.
Bye.